Deathriders that I've previously made. So you can see here, up close and personal, that these guys are just on normal horses that have a few extra bits and bobs. Now, the actual rider himself is what we're going to be mostly editing, because the horse itself looks absolutely fine. In all honesty, it's really good. Now, there's a couple things I wanted to address as well. I said it's missing a horse and its talons. It also doesn't have a gas mask, which the Death Corps of Krieg have on their horses. But if you wanted to add a gas mask yourself, like if you wanted to sculpt something on there, you're more than welcome to. You could do that kind of thing. It wouldn't be too crazy to just slap some stuff on there and work around from there. Also, I do have another note that I'd like to bring up. I had a couple messages saying that Death Corps of Krieg are not World War I Germans, they're World War II Germans. Now, I completely agree with this, but the kits that I was using were World War I and Napoleonic infantry, and a lot of people associate the whole World War II Germans because of the helmets, because it's got that shaped helmet. But the whole dress wear, minus the armor and the shoulder pads and all that kind of stuff, is very, very much World War I French. And you can actually find kits that look like that, and I found them a bit late. But yeah, they are more associated with the French than the Germans, but that helmet makes them German, unfortunately. Okay, so I just wanted to say that, and completely agree with you guys. But yeah, that's it's a little tidbit that cavalry doesn't really help us at all. But if you were looking for a kit and you found a World War I German versus a World War I French, you'd probably get a lot more done with the French. You'd just have to change the helmet around, really. Okay, so I'm going to show you the box set for these guys that I bought, because I actually bought the full box, and here it is. We'll just push these dudes out of the way. It's Perry Miniatures. Is that on cam? There we go. The Perry Miniatures Light 1450 to 1500, and they are 28mm hard plastic. Now, I bought this box for about $48, I think. That's 48 AU. And, that's what they look like. So you can see, here's a pencil for scale. Yeah, they're pretty small. But, that's a good scale. 28mm is the closest to Warhammer that we can get without going heroic and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to open this up. I have already made 3, and I'm pretty sure there are 3 on a sprue, but today we're going to be making just 1. So here we go. So on one sprue, there are 3 horses. So you've got one side and the other side. And for the actual rider, you've actually got 4 riders. Which is kind of I think there might be a reason for that. So I think with the horses as well, they give you 4 heads, but there's only 3 horses. Now the reason why is because one of the heads has an armor-plated shield, like a headpiece like this, and they kind of give you the option to have that or not have that. Because they don't all have that, you'd probably give that to your leader unit. But in all honesty, I wish they all had that, because they look nicer, in my opinion. But yeah, so 3 horses, we're going to make 1. And that is what the kit looks like. Now, we're not going to be using any of these heads, as awesome as they are. I'm probably going to chop them off and use them for my own Empire units for Age of Sigmar, because I intend to be making some Age of Sigmar units in the future. So I'm probably just going to keep all of those heads for that kind of kitbash in the future. Same with the swords and all that kind of stuff. All these arms are really, really good. Even like the little crossbows and all this. But I will be using these spears and some of the bodies. So we're going to go with number 3 here on the sprue. And I'll just quickly clip that out. whole camera will shake while I do it. There we go, we got this one little dude, and he doesn't have any arms yet. The arms we're going to be using are pretty much these. The ones with, I've got to make sure I put this on the right camera. They are just holding little spears. Now, I'm pretty sure they've got it so you can make the lance aim downwards, but I want all my guys to have their lances up, so they're in a bit of a casual stance. There we go. And now we need an arm, which will be unarmed. So we've got the dude mostly set up, we've got the arms and the body. Now, I'm just going to chop up these horses. And I think we'll go for a basic one. I don't want to use this one just yet. I'll save it for later. They are basically identical. It's just basically the way their legs are posed in their running stance. It just changes a little bit. They're not even numbered, which is interesting. So that tells me that it really doesn't matter which ones you choose. So I could, as long as it doesn't have a base, I could choose any of them, and they should kind of work together. You can see, like, the horses it looks like a mid-gallop, so it doesn't really matter which one you go for, as long as you don't choose the base. And, like I said, there's only 3 options, so there's not a lot of things to do here. I'm going to go for this one here. And now we have pretty much got everything except for the horse's head, of course. Horse head. There we go. That's all the parts that we're going to need, unless we decide to add, I don't know, like a sword or something. Like I like these swords that are in their sheaths, so I decided to add one of those to one of my already made horses just for fun. They do have like a little bit of kit and stuff, but it's mostly like arrows and bolts and like the wench. There's even like a little bugle. That's kind of cool. All right, so that's all we're gonna really need for our Deathrider. Now, there's one thing that we are missing, and it is our helmets. Now, you remember from the last video we had a box of helmets, but for this one, I'm going to show you how the previous molds turned out. I haven't pulled this out at all. These are the ones that when we had that leftover from the shoulder pads that we were working on, and I was explaining that these are molds, and in these molds are Deathcore of Krieg helmets, and you know, we end up making too much, or we have not enough stuff to sculpt with. What am I saying? You have too much of this sculpting stuff, so you end up just putting it into these things. And I'll show you how this works. This one's a little easy because it's got this little elephant trunk. If I just pull on this, it'll break. So obviously I kind of screwed up there. But what you can do is on the inside here. That's the first time that's ever happened, just so you know. It does come out, and you can see there's a little Deathcore of Krieg. Now, I probably used my knife a bit silly there. I've cut into it. I'll use this one here. And I've clipped my damn nails, but I would normally have nails for all this kind of sculpting stuff. You pull that out, and you can see a little dude's helmet and head right there. Oh, and it's one of the cool ones. So you can see it came out of there. And that's what you do. You get like a little bit of excess, and you can see why I shoved it really far in there, because that doesn't really matter, that empty space. It's all about the actual sculpt on the inside. So we have the head here. That looks quite nice. And I'm pretty much just going to be plopping it right on top of here. But you can see that the rest of the body doesn't match at all, because it's a medieval kind of knight-looking character. So we're going to have to do what we did before with the shoulder pads on these guys, but we're going to have to do it for the body, because the Deathcore, or the Deathriders, actually have armor plating on their chest on the horses. And it makes them look a little bit better as well, but there's quite a lot more than meets the eye on these, because I've just realized you're going to have to also sculpt their little capes in, or their trench coats. Now you can actually see in this video what that's going to entail. It is a bit of work, but it's not crazy. It's not insanely hard. The first things first, we need to assemble the actual dude. So I'm just going to be gluing these two together. Very simple. Horse. Going to just come together like that, and the head as well. Like that. But it won't pop off. It'll stay there. If you don't just use the entire glue stick. Alright, so just chucking that on there. And putting the horse head on as well. I'm just going to quickly open this up. This is the Epoxy Sculpt. So we used this in the previous video, and I'm just going to grab a bit of the same size, probably a little bit more of a pinch this time. When you do this a lot, you just kind of know how much you're looking at. A little bit too much on this one. There we go. And now you mix them together, which is where we cut in the YouTube video, where it's just already done. I need to glue this dude on here though. I'm just gonna slap some glue in here, and I'll just plop him on here like that. And you might be wondering, if we're gonna be doing that cape, or the tunic, or whatever you want to call it, the trench coat, why am I gluing him on? It's because it would be impossible to do it otherwise. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put him down here, and I'm going to grab maybe like that much. I'm going to attempt to do this. I haven't done this in a while, and I actually forgot that it had to be done for this model. But I'm going to kind of make a flat piece of fabric. Now you could roll this out and slice it up. I used to use like baking paper. If you put baking paper down, you can roll this out on top of it and it'll come off real easy. But we're basically just making something like that. And with baking paper, you won't end up with like fingerprint impressions, which is really good. I'm just slapping this in here, and I'm going to use my knife to sort of keep it all in place. Like this. Pressing it down. Now it's a bit long, but that's fine. I'm just going to stretch it around like this. And again, it might look stupid, but the more that's there at the moment is the better. It really sucks when you don't have enough there. You can see it's kind of gone around like a bit of a, well, it looks more like a cape now, or a dress or something like that, or half a dress. I'm just going to press in the top part so it's nice and firm against the actual model, and it doesn't come off if I decide to pull on it or tug on it at all. Just like so. Now, this part here has to be shorter. Like, it's just way too long. So I'm going to cut it about here, just halfway, and kind of fold it underneath just a little bit. And hopefully this just comes off, if my knife's sharp enough. Like that. So you can see it's it looks like he's sitting on the cape now, because it's kind of folded underneath. And I'm just going to use the knife again to press up against the back. And I'll show you another thing as well. With these guys, I've done it so the cape's kind of flowing a little bit, but that is really difficult and I don't recommend it. So I'm going to show you a cheat. That you can do that, but like I said, it's like I would have to cut into this and lift it up. And the only reason I was doing that was so that you could see the saddle, but how much of that saddle can you actually see right now? A bit. I mean, you could paint in there if you had a nice brush to fit in, but I'm going to do something else. I did this for another test, and you can see there's like a nice, I don't know, it could be like a bed, what do you call it? Like a sleeping bag or something? Blanket? So we're going to do that. And you can see I don't have to worry about the whole backside coming up. And I did it as well for this dude. And I just like the look of it. So we need to continue this. We need to kind of flatten this out just a little bit so it's flatter. This is still too long as well, so I'm just going to cut this down to size. And this is the cool part. This is what makes it look deathcore-y. Deathcore-y. We're going to fold it up on itself, like this. Like that. Folding it up on itself. And it's actually kind of good that I'm doing this, because this is what I had to do for every single model with, well, every single model that required this. So folding it up on itself. And you can use your fingers as well, you don't have to use the tool. And you can see it looks a bit wonky in some spots, you just like fix it up. This is really like, I think people who kitbash things, unless you're an absolute pro and you're making crazy models, which is like, I'm not sure why you're watching this video. Like, if you can make some crazy models and you're good at sculpting and stuff, then do whatever works for you. This is something that I'm happy with. You could spend way more time on it and get some really, really good results. But I'm kind of happy with, I'm content with this simple thing, because you can see, once you get this dude, it's such a small part of the model. And you can see I've even got fingerprints on that. That's what that's going to end up looking like. Pretty close. Pretty close. If anything, I kind of like this one, but I need to make this a little bit more pronounced in here. Like that. I don't mind that. He does look like he has a huge ass, but he's going to have armor plating on his back, so it's going to make him look a bit bigger. And in doing so, it'll also match the scale for the Warhammer models. We're going to sculpt the armor onto this guy. And it can be a bit of a pain. One thing that I want to do, or have always attempted to do, is make like a little collar, and it's such a pain. I don't know if you can see that right at the top. It's a bit dirty, but I attempt to make this collar around the top of the helmet, so I'm gonna have to attach the helmet after I do this body piece. But it never really comes out how I wanted it to. But let's do what we can for now. So I've grabbed, again, like a really tiny piece here. I'm just gonna slap it onto the body like that. So I've just pushed it right into the body. And I'm gonna do the same for the back, because it does have a back and a front. Might even grab a smaller chunk. And push it into the back side, like this. Now, the next is all knife play. So, pretty much just going to be flattening out. And I'll just show you what I am looking to do with it. You can see here how it's kind of like flat. And on the back, it's kind of flat as well. You can see the knife, you can see some crappiness in there. This guy's just got chainmail shoulders. That looks kind of cool, honestly. I didn't even realize. Oh, I've just forgotten about it. So you're just going to kind of like flatten this out to make it look like sheet metal of some kind. And like that. That's kind of okay. And the same with the back. Just flattening this out. There we go. Flatten that out. Flatten this sort of. I kind of want to get rid of the piece at the bottom there, but I might try and make it work. How's that looking? I'm going to cut this piece here, and this piece here, and this piece here to look like sort of where the neck is supposed to go. Like, cut that off. So then you've got, it looks a bit dodgy in there. And you can also do the same here, so you can kind of cut in here. Like this. Like that, and then get that piece. I'm not sure where these tiny hairs are coming from. Cut again. Alright, just get rid of this. It was from one of the brushes. And you can see here, now it's not great, but like I said, I do want to put that collar on the inside there. I'll push this to the side just a little bit. Flatten that out a bit. And you've got a basic plate armor on your dude that didn't have it before. He totally did have it before. And now I'm going to glue both the arms and the head. And the reason why I want to do that is because if the arms get too much stuff in between them, they won't sit properly. So I just want to make sure it sits nice and proper. And then I'll do the neck, which has the collar, and the arms, which have the shoulder pads. I'm just going to clean this a little bit so it fits. Do this arm first, which is supposed to be holding the reins for the horse. And if you can get even just a tiny bit close to it, I'll be happy. And then the spear. Now this is like, you could have it downwards if you wanted it to be like in like a jousting position, but I want all my dudes to be kind of casual. I'm gonna have these upright, if I can, like so. That's it. So you can see he's kind of like raising it up a little bit. That's fine. And then lastly, we have the helmet to attach. But because this actually has a bit of a groove in there, concave kind of hole, and this also has a concave hole just because of the way it's been sculpted, they're not going to sit very nicely. There actually is, if I was to glue it on there, it would look like this. It would just look really stupid. So I'm going to have to add some fake stuff in there. I'll put a fake neck in there, and also do the collar at the same time. I'm grabbing a little bit here. This is going to be for the neck and the collar. I'm going to try, I don't know if I did this before, that's obviously way too much. Let's see if I can do both at the same time. I don't know if that's how I did it last time. Now I'm just plopping it into there. And I'm going to try and sculpt the whole collar here. Bringing it all the way around. Might need a sharper knife for this, or like a sharper pointed edge. I'm definitely going to need that. And I'm going to use his comrade to do it. There we go. So his comrade's going to help me sculpt. I'm going to hopefully get in there like this and kind of lift up a... It's a kind of like one of those businessy shirts. I know it's old school, militaristic. A word. I want the collar to stand out just a bit. I'm going to cut into here now and into there. Sort of, I want to flick it out, but it's not going to happen. That doesn't look too bad as it stands at the moment. I'm going to flatten this bit out. As soon as I put the head on there, it'll ruin everything. There we go. Flatten it out, flatten it out. So you can see what I meant sort of by the collar. Not the same level as this, but I know these ones didn't come out how I was hoping. Hopefully this looks okay. Once I put the head on. And he does have a bit of a hole to fill here. That's not bad. That kind of just fit in there. To be honest, that really did just fit in there because of that hole. That's probably going to pop off when that dries. But for now, it's sitting in there. And when it does pop off, I'll just plop some glue in there. Now, last things last on this, for the actual man, the rider, is the shoulder pads, which we made in the last video. And if you forgot, it's literally just two little bloops like this. Might even be smaller than this. Two little bloops. And then you stick one on here. Like that. And the other one on the other shoulder. And make sure you don't touch all the other stuff. When you're sculpting large areas like this, you tend to accidentally touch things. And kind of ruin all your work. So I could accidentally push this down and ruin the trench coat, and it's a real pain. I recommend if you are to do stuff like this, you have multiple, and you do each part at a time. So you do these legs for a whole bunch of horses, and then you do all the armor plating for all of them, and as you work, everything basically sets. But because we're doing this all in one video, and doing it all together, I want to make that double layered armor plate. I don't know if I explained this well last time. Pretty much like there's two shoulder pads. One shoulder pad is the top piece, the big one, and there's just a tiny bit of armor underneath it. And I'm trying to get rid of any fingerprints as well while I'm going around doing this. Because fingerprints are not good to have on models. They really stand out, especially if you do any kind of washes, which I intend to do with this. All the fingerprints just are highlighted. Really bad. Like, I'd rather have like cuts and stuff in the armor, like that, than fingerprints. Because at least the cuts seem more intentional. So, there's a bit of a frustrating piece to do right there. But it does look pretty good so far. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Because we have so much left, it's actually going to make making that little sleeping bag at the back worthwhile. It was kind of a good thing that I grabbed a bunch. And the sleeping bag it's one of the more fun things to do, super easy. So I'm just going to stretch this out into a flat piece like this. Like so. Even if it rips, I don't care, that's fine. And I want probably just a tiny piece on the end. Don't cut against your skin, guys. I just want that piece so I can wrap it around like a leather strap. And I will just roll it up like this. Roll it up like that. And then plop it on the back of the horse. Like that. Kind of squish it down a little bit. So it's sitting, so it actually sits on the horse. Hang on. It will work, I promise. I'll push it down with my fingers. And you want those to be very not touched. Just once you've got that there, don't touch them. You can push down on the top and do whatever you want on the top. Just don't touch those edges because you'll have to do it again otherwise. And I'm making some little indentations for when I put those leather straps on or in. And I don't have to come back and do this. Little creases and stuff. You can overdo this if you've got way too much. Alright, so we've got that little thing. Now, got like the smallest amount here. This is good. This is small. Good. For straps, it's going to be really, really fine. Oh, I can tell you. I did straps for the Death Corps, like just for their shoulders and all that stuff, and oh my god, it was painful. I'm just gonna do that and cut this off. Cut there. Grab another one. And put this on there. Now it looks like crap, but we're just gonna fold them, and we can kind of like use the knife while they're warm from your own temperature. They're very malleable, so you can stretch them a bit. And if there's too much, you can just cut it off. If you have a nice sharp knife, you can cut it off and remove any pieces like that, and cut away at bits that don't belong. Like I said, if this was done at different times, this would be dry, and nothing would really stick to it. You'd be able to cut into it, well, lay it out a lot easier. Now I want to flatten these out so they do look like straps instead of weird snakes. Like so. And there we go. So you've got a bit of a backpacky thing sitting on the back of this guy. Now I'm not really liking how that's sitting. I might put like a tiny button, and by tiny I mean very small. So roll this up and do your best to not screw everything up. And again, it might look like garbage. I'm just going to roll this up into a ball. But your paint job is where things get fixed up. I mean, obviously, if you can sculpt well, the paint job should just be a breeze. The more little details you add like this, the more the paint job gets to work with. But there's still the entire model here. Like, so you've got the horse and everything, which I haven't really touched, and that's like majority of the model when you're looking at it. So all these little details go a long way to make it connect to like a Deathrider. Now one thing that I haven't added is this top piece here. I don't have any more of these. It was such a nice piece, it was perfect for this model, but I don't have any more of them, sadly. And another is the base. You can see here I don't have a base. I do actually have a base, and I had it prepared, but I decided to use it for this Tyranid dude. And this is just a 3D printed base. So I just need to go and print some more bases, and then I can stick it on here. Now you can see here that there is already its own little base that it comes with. And you can see it's not here on this base, but it is actually there. I just glued this onto the base, and then the mud has been added over the top of it. And that's one of the little secrets of hiding flaws in the model. Now I'm actually pretty well done here. If I wanted to, I could go in and add bottom to the gas mask. Oh, I got a bit of a shake there. Add like a bit of a bottom piece here on the bottom. And you could do that with sprues. Now, not all sprues have these, but if you look at this one, these are a little bit big. There's a lot of these circles that just exist on sprues. And if you find the right sprue, you can just cut one of those off and chuck it on the bottom of the helmet, and it works perfectly. It really does. It works perfectly if you just find the right sprue. I like to keep my sprues for that exact reason. Now I've also been left with, again, a little bit more crap. So what I'm gonna do is find something to put it into. I do have this thing here. I'm not sure where all my molds are. This is a backpack, and this is really starting to go hard now. So I'm just gonna shove that into there. It's a 2-part mold, and you can see what happens next time. You go. It's kind of just trial and error because I haven't made these for a while. I didn't really know how much to add for the Epoxy Sculpt, so kind of just guessed. And I had a little bit too much. So even if you do have too much, you can add it to other stuff like this. Oh, come on. It's really stiff once it starts to dry out. I'm just trying to fill in this void here. And that's still too much for that. I'm gonna take this out, push that in, and hopefully this is the right piece. Yeah, they go together. So pretty much just push them together, but because it's so hard, it might not work. Squeeze them together, and I might just be able to show you what the backside. So I've just taken that off. You shouldn't do that. You leave them until it dries, but you can see what that kind of thing does. And now when I pull that out, it'll be a full mold, and I'm still left with this much, and I might be able to. No, there's not enough for that. So I'm just gonna make like a tiny little stone or something from that. A crappy little stone. That'll be on the horse's base. There. There we go. So when we base him, he's got a stone to go with him. And that's that. So we've gone from the sprue to, you know, you could 3D print the heads, or you could use other kits for the heads. There's no issue with that. Now the dress uniform, I've yet to find a cavalry that has that kind of uniform. If you do find something like that, please feel free to leave a link in the description below on YouTube, and I will be all over that. I'd love to see something that has most of the uniform already made. I feel like the armor is going to have to be sculpted no matter what, but just that little trench coat would be a nice thing to have already done. Okie doke, so that is the end of the model. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like and a comment. Let me know what I could have done better or what you think worked. Let me know if you're actually going to make some of these. That'd be really cool. If you're interested in following more in depth into the whole Vitivic Arts thing, I have a Discord. It'll be in the link in the description below. And for people over on Twitch, that is available in the description below. It's the same thing, the About section. You're more than welcome to head over there and join in the community. We're sharing a whole bunch of different kind of things. We've got my artworks and a whole, like, the community artworks. You don't have to just be sharing just Vitivic Art stuff. You can make your own stuff and talk about it and get critiqued and all that kind of stuff. It's a nice, friendly environment just to share your artwork, really. A huge thanks to my Patreon supporters over on Patreon who are still supporting me. They've been supporting me like for such a long damn time. It's blowing my mind. If you want to support me over there, just a few dollars my way goes a long way for me, especially when paying for supplies. Like I said, I bought this huge tub. I think I looked it up. It's actually like $120 for a tub this big. But yeah, you know, I can afford that kind of stuff when you guys are supporting me. And paints and models and more kits as well. I'd like to get some more kits just to practice with, just to make more videos like this with. And I do have a couple more kit bashes in mind for the future. I intend to be doing something with some Space Wolves, potentially soon. I also have some, believe it or not, the Necromunda Nomads. I have an idea in my head that I want to work on. And I've gone and bought a kit, and most of it's going to be a kit and then sculpting on top of that. So that should be a lot of fun, for me at least, to make. So if you're interested in seeing that, feel free to subscribe or follow or do whatever it is that you need to do, and I will be coming with those in the future. So, as always, I will say this: stay awesome, keep 3D printing, and keep kitbashing. Do everything that it is you guys need to do to keep your hobby alive. But most importantly, stay awesome. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.